Festerfarkle the Frogdragon by T.N. Maree. Festerfarkle the Frogdragon lived in a big fig tree, and he loved munching small fuzzy fruity flies that feed on the green fig flea. But although he could flit, fly, and frolic to his small froggy dragon heart's content, and eat fruity flies till he felt full and fat, poor Festerfarkle felt discontent. For you see, Festerfarkle was an outcast, and he had not a single friend to call. Not the frogs in their ponds, nor the dragons in their caves ever gave him the time of day at all. Unfortunately for our Festerfarkle, his life has just one big fateful plot twist. In all of the lands of far Fayrule, not a single other frog dragon exists. See, his mother, now, she was a dragon, and she could breathe fire that glowed. But his father was just an old filly frog, a mottled amphibian toad. Yes, I know frogs and dragons, they don't get along, but for these it was love at first sight. Fester Sr. and Fergus both knew from the start that together things just felt so right. But the frogs in his class, they all teased him for being too big for his chair, and his wings they would flap and make papers shoot left, right, up, down, everywhere. And the dragons, well, they would all chase him away from their caves by the sea.
Quick, run fast, little froggy feet. Go back to your big fig tree.
So, poor Festerfarkle, he finally gave up and went back to his favorite fig rind. He'd wrap up in his soft fuzzy figgy leaf and travel far, far away in his mind. He would dream that a great land existed somewhere far, far across frothy sea, where 100 strange creatures lived jointly, each one happily freakish and free. There would be at least one beaver bullfrog, and perhaps 2 or 3 zebra flies, and definitely a few elephant fish, and one tooth-beaked bird bug with 5 eyes. The jellyfish ants and the worm whales would hold surf competitions all day, while the monkey hippos and the fox crabs would relax in the sand and crochet. Oh yes, Festerfarkle could see it. Every time he would close his eyes tight, he pictured a place where he always fit in when he dreamed in his fig tree each night. But then, of course, would come morning, and his dreams, they would all fade to gray. Festerfarkle would wake to remember his dreamland was far, far away. But one day, Festerfarkle awoke in his leaf, and while everything seemed as it should, he had no idea that something had changed, and his fate had been altered for good. As he swung from the low-hanging branches of the big, fuzzy, fruity fig tree, Festerfarkle could smell something funny on the breeze blowing in from the sea. When he flapped to the sand, he discovered, to his horror and to his dismay, that the dragon caves, they were on fire, and smoke billowed every which way. And there, in a cave on the cliff's edge, Festerfarkle could see a small nest. Baby dragons were crying out for their mom, with their small dragon voices, distressed. But poor Mama was helpless to help them, and she flapped and she cried to the skies. For she was too big to crawl through the flames. They were trapped, all because of her size. Festerfarkle flew fast without thinking, and immediately flapped through the smoke. In just a few seconds, he slipped through the cracks, and let out a triumphant loud croak. The babies all grabbed his frog dragon back and held on with all of their might. With dragon-sized courage and quick froggy speed, small Festerfarkle leapt and took flight. And the ruckus they caused, how they shouted and cheered. All the dragons, they cried out his name. For no one else could both fit through the cracks and maneuver through smoke and through flame. So the frogs and the dragons joined forces, and all gathered round to declare that from this day forward, frog dragons would be the most honored creatures in the lair. Fergus, she smiled and gave him a wink, and with a tear in his eye and a sparkle, Fester Sr. hugged his son and said with a croak,
I'm so proud of you, Festerfarkle.
And from that moment on, he knew in his heart that being unique was not bad, for only a small flying frog dragon could achieve what Festerfarkle had.